One of the biggest benefits of what I do is that I get to talk about spanking. A lot. I talk about it with fetishists, and I talk about it with sex-oriented people. I get to talk about it with snuggle-oriented cats. Oh, he's just a beanbag with a face. It's wonderful that I get to spend so much of my life having so many interesting conversations about spanking, and I'm so grateful. But there are a few things people say to me from time to time that, well, I really could do without. Some of these comments deserve and will get their own videos. Things like spanking fetishes are caused by childhood trauma, etc. But this video isn't about addressing important misunderstandings like that. This is just a chance to offload some of my petty annoyances. So without further ado, here are the top 5 things I am sick of hearing. 1. For me, spanking is special. Okay, unclench, Carol. I've been getting emails from spankos for almost a decade now, and I can damn well guarantee spanking is special for every single one of us, okay? This line always comes up in the context of parties or play. Every couple of months, someone slides into my inbox to deliver a self-righteous monologue about how they couldn't possibly even consider attending a party, because for them, spanking is something intimate and personal and special. They recognize that maybe parties and play are okay for some people, but they couldn't imagine minimizing something so sacred. Look, if you don't want to go to a party, don't go to a party. If you don't want to play with friends, don't play with friends. But it's possible to do that without broadcasting judgment of fellow fetishists and fetish culture in the process. Spanking is not any less intimate or personal or special for those of us who go to parties. And the real and meaningful friendships we build at parties do not minimize anything. Spanking is intimate, personal, and special, but so is community. Both of these things can be true at the same time. The most arrogant, critical opinions about the public spanking community invariably come from people who have never explored it. That being said, I do realize that people who email me to say things like this are probably just scared. They feel unfulfilled, but are unable or unwilling to take the risks necessary to seek fulfillment. So they convince themselves that their isolation stems from some kind of moral superiority. Number 2, there's more to life than just spanking. Well, duh. Of course there's more to life than just spanking. I mean, there's cats. This is something people say to me in conversations about making relationships between fetishists and non-fetishists work. And yes, obviously, there is more to life and more to relationships than just spanking. Believe it or not, there's even more to my life. But this remark annoys me because it's not applied consistently. Fetish is not recognized as a real and meaningful sexual identity, and when we say things like there's more to life than just spanking, we're just internalizing that. When sex-oriented people experience sexual dissatisfaction or incompatibility in their relationships, I never hear people say there's more to life than just sex. Instead, they say things like this: seek professional help. This relationship has probably run its course. And give some thought to leaving the marriage. Sexual dissatisfaction or incompatibility in sex-oriented relationships is taken really, really seriously in our sex-oriented world. Like, seek professional help levels of seriously. Sexual dissatisfaction among fetish-oriented people deserves to be taken seriously too. Like I said in a previous video, I do think relationships between fetishists and sex-oriented people can work, but not by minimizing one of the sexual orientations involved in that relationship. The world we live in spends enough time misunderstanding and minimizing what it means to have a fetish. We don't need to do that to ourselves. Number 3, if you've been a spanking fetishist your whole life, it seems like you would have loved childhood spankings. Ha ha ha. I'm sorry, just a minute, I need to put on some lip balm. My lips are just so chapped today. I talk a lot about how my fetish is innate, unchosen, and lifelong. And I also talk a lot about children's rights. And at least twice a year, I meet people who think it's really funny and clever to say this. I always reply, "You like sex, right?" And they always say yes. So I say, "Would you have enjoyed sex with your parents?" Number 4, I'm so famous. I don't out people. I've never outed anyone. But nevertheless, there are people who have been emailing me for years who feel the need in every single message to me to deliver a small speech about how this correspondence is private and confidential because his very important position as regional manager at Dunder Mifflin Scranton means he is way too famous to ever be out. Look, I'm trustworthy and I think I've demonstrated that. But if you're not sure whether I'm trustworthy, that's okay. Just don't email me. But if you do email me, try to show me the consideration of writing from the base assumption that I'm not a monster. The assumption that you need to tell me to respect your privacy is, it's kind of insulting, to be blunt. I don't out people. Every single email I get is already private and confidential, regardless of whether or not it comes with a speech about your high-profile job. When I do share messages from other fetishists, I only do so with consent from the writer. Number 5, all spankos are male. Well, no. That's just not true. I hear this one a lot, and it bugs me because I think it's just the fetishist version of the sexist stereotype that women are not fully formed sexual creatures. I get a lot of emails from spanking fetishists all around the world, and I can tell you, at least half of those messages come from women. Maybe even more than half. The fetish community is not mostly male, so let's just let that myth die, okay? That being said, it is true that female spanking fetishists are underrepresented in certain areas of the public kink community. There are websites and parties, for example, where men definitely do outnumber women. I can't say for sure why this is, but if I had to venture a guess, I'd wonder if women are perhaps more concerned about things like security. Maybe women worry that it would be unsafe to out themselves on a website or at a party. If that's true, it would explain why women are underrepresented in public spaces, but overrepresented in safe spaces like my email inbox. Okay. Thank you for letting me unload a little. If you've ever said any of these things to me, don't worry. I say things that annoy me too, so I understand.